for Shane Warne. And he's done it.
We would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Aussies Abroad on the B Sample Sports Network. Guys, this is our 10th episode. Thank you very much for coming along this ride with us this whole time. If it's your first time here, thank you. Make sure you subscribe to the show. If it's your 10th time here, thank you very much for coming on this trip with us. Share this with your friends, your family, and your mums, especially. Shout out to all the mums out there, because I'm sure all the mums love watching this show. So, guys, let's start with you, Ness. How was your week? Spending our 5th or 6th week in lockdown now. How are you coping?
Yep, I'm done. I've been progressively getting worse. I had an absolute shocker of a day today. Just everything I touched broke. So I just have no words. It is just what it is. And I think Bo said it last week. Like, you really can't complain because you're competing with all of these other states that are just doing it so much worse and have been in it longer. But man, it stinks, doesn't it? I just want to be free. We'll get there.
So how are you, mate? Are you feeling okay this week?
Yeah, all good from my end. Some things happening in career-wise, but that's all going good. Otherwise, I've just started doing yoga, like most nights with the lady. And it's bad. I am bad. I'm so sore, so tight. And like, she's a king of it. She kills it. So I just feel extra bad being next to her. But I'm enjoying it nonetheless.
Good job, Bo.
Very nice. Very nice. I've dabbled a few times, but I don't move that way. So
my body does not at all. I'm just trying to teach it to. It's so embarrassing.
This hard, isn't it? Yeah. Right, guys, let's get started with the news this week. Now, first up, big ups to Port Adelaide midfielder Ollie Wines, who wins his first Brownlow medal on Sunday night. It's very nice to see such a star being in such a rubbish outfit as Port Adelaide are. So hopefully he finds a better team going forward sometime soon. So shout out to Ollie Wines, mate. Congratulations. I heard it was the biggest point score ever in the medal. So it was very nice to see him have such a solid year. Hopefully they can go one better for you next year and not get beaten in the semi-final by 75 as they did last week. So hopefully we'll have him on the show sometime soon, maybe. See, speaking of the AFL, legendary commentator Dennis Cometti will call his final game of the AFL on Saturday night. Now, he's been a mainstay for the AFL for about 30 seasons now. And if you don't know who he is, he's the voice that you guys hear every week with your games of AFL. Now, I want to talk about some legendary commentators that we've had over the years, like Kenny Sutcliffe and Rabs and Gus, and like you guys have been around a long time. Who are some of those names that you guys remember the most and that you sort of come through with over all these years, that those sports that you guys love? Who are the voices that you remember?
Yeah, Rabs probably has to be the first for me, from the NRL. We kind of talked off air a bit, and I agree with some of the other ones you guys were talking about, so I won't steal your thunder, but I think Rabs to me, and like Chris Collinsworth, when you hear him, just because
Michaels,
Al Michaels, it just touches home because they're first hearing their voice like week one of the NFL. You haven't heard an American accent in a while because I watch the NBA, but not the Major League Baseball. So just hearing the accents and it just, yes, football season's back. So Those two hit me. Tony Romo as well, who's in the NFL. I think he does a real interesting job. I think he's changing the game of commentary a bit. We're just providing so much inside knowledge, which we don't get as a fan base often. So I reckon he's killing it anyway. I love when he's commentating games.
He sure is, yes. Bess, what do you got for us?
I reckon Les Murray. I think you can't watch a game of football without listening and hearing him. And I think once he passed away, soccer wasn't the same. But I reckon Simon Hill does a pretty good job of soccer as well. Like, it's just that really calm voice. And that's really, I think they're probably the main ones. And I guess you can't go past a Richie Beno commentating in cricket. So
I remember
Les Murray. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, Les Murray just reminds me, because soccer was my first ever love. I'm not even sure if we've discussed that on this pod. So it just reminds me of being
things you learn.
Coming home like Monday night. They used to have like South Park and then the football highlights.
That's what I was going to say.
That is, really? Oh.
Yeah, man,
yeah. So that just reminds me of my childhood, I guess. So.
Yeah, so I remember being about 7 or 8, and I used to lie on the bed in my parents' room and watch the Champions League highlights on a Monday night. Yeah. And I think it was on SBS maybe. And maybe about 8:30, and he was the voice. It was
absolutely
from like 5 days earlier, but I still remember that vividly. And so as I got older, all the games I watched with him on, I was like, that takes me back. So
yes, absolutely.
That was great. Yes.
I reckon as well, Steve Rebilliard used to commentate a lot of sports, but he did the netball, and that was the same for me. It was like a Saturday afternoon, get home from netball, and I think there was like a 10-minute window where they just gave you the results. And I was like, gotta watch the netball.
And the guy who does the cycling too, the Tour de France, Phil is his first name, and I can't remember his last name. I'm really sorry. But yes, him, the voice, every time the cycling's on, you'd hear him. It just takes you back.
Such a gift, isn't it? So,
yes. And shout out to Kenny Sutcliffe, who we didn't mention, and Bruce
McAvaney
too. Yeah, who were absolute superstars of what they did. So yes, those memories will live with us for a long time, I'm sure. Moving on, the Wallabies have had another win. We beat the Saffers again over the weekend. I didn't actually know South Africa are the current world champions. So very surprised that we beat them twice now, 30-17. We now turn our attention to Argentina, who we play on Saturday night at 8:05. There's a fair few other things on Saturday night, but we'll talk about them later. But the Aussies then travel to Europe in late October for a European tour against some powerhouse outfits over there, including England and France. I think getting beaten by New Zealand is going to be a mainstay every year. That's just how it is now. So I think we need to set our standards a little bit lower. And the beating the Saffers twice and now going over to England, I think we're in for a lot bigger tournament than I expected. I thought we'd get thrashed by all of them, but we're starting to sort of look a bit better. So hopefully we'll go over to England and start to produce a few solid wins with the World Cup next season. So let's hope the Wallabies aren't the basket case that I think that we usually are.
It can't get worse. So it's on the up.
It's on the up, surely. Now, speaking of Englishmen that we don't like, Ben Stokes, England all-rounder, has decided he will not travel to Australia for the Ashes this year because he's afraid of getting beaten by the Aussies. You guys got anything you want to add? No?
I don't know if that's official news, Spinks, so we can roll with it.
Geez, if you're worried about this team, you've lived a pretty good life.
So Ben Stokes said he's not coming out to Australia for the Ashes. He's citing a few different reasons. One of them is COVID. One of them is having a finger issue and mental health issues too. And we can't joke about that. But look, hopefully he gets himself better sometime soon, and we see Ben Stokes out here in the near future. Yes, but the Ashes is going to be, I think the third Ashes test is the one at the MCG this year. And on Boxing Day is the greatest sporting day of the year, as we all know. Those of you who know me know you do not ring me on Boxing Day ever, because Boxing Day is my day. I'll do whatever you want for Christmas, but Boxing Day is me. I'm up at like 4 a.m. watching sport all day. There's NBA, NFL, the cricket, and one of my favourite things to watch the start of is the Sydney to Hobart. It looks like Sydney to Hobart might be being moved this year due to COVID fears in Sydney. Not really a big fan of the race itself, but I do like to watch the start of it during the lunch break of the first day. Do you guys think this is a tradition that needs to be moved, or can they just harden up and deal with it?
Firstly, kudos to you for having such a tight schedule on your Boxing Day.
It's good. Trust me. It's good.
Wait, you know when the Sydney to Hobart kicks off because it's in between lunch break.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. I sort of feel like an event that's called the Sydney to Hobart race needs to do that. And I feel like there are COVID safe ways, if that's what the issue is here, to do that. It's not, I get the crowds that you have to manage of people watching. I just feel like there's ways that they can explore that. I feel like this is one too steeped in tradition when the very nature of the event is Sydney to Hobart. So 2 other destinations is just not going to be the same.
Yeah, I think they're looking at alternative routes at the moment, but hopefully things can get up to a stage in New South Wales where we can sort of start to have a few more of these events on. So you guys go out there and get your shots. Do it. Right, up next we have the Aussie women's cricket team. They're involved in a one-day international series at the moment with India in North Queensland, and the Indians managed 8 for 225 from their 50 overs. Young 18-year-old Aussie pacer Darcy Brown took 4 wickets, and it's only her second ODI game. So in reply, the Aussies made a huge opening stand of 125 with Alyssa Healy scoring 77 runs before she was out. And after that stage, it was a walk in the park with Rachel Haynes scoring an unbeaten 98, and the Aussies won by 9 wickets with 9 overs to spare. There are 3 ODIs, 1 test match, and a handful of T20s in this. And unlike the men's, I think the Indian women are a lot more of an easy beat than the Indian men. So it shouldn't be too much trouble for the Aussie girls as we go forward. So
the Aussie women are actually playing at the greatest cricket venue in the world, Manuka Oval, next summer.
Very nice.
So make sure you
Manuka
get your tickets.
or Manuka?
You can go with Manuka. Yes.
Manuka, to start with, yes.
You could go with that if you like.
No, I'm team Manuka.
All right. Former Socceroo Harry Kewell has been sacked by his fifth team over the last 3 years in Barnet, who are currently last in the 5th tier of the English League of Soccer. They've lost 7 matches on the trot. I've been following Harry for a few seasons now. He was coach at a few different teams. I think it was Scunthorpe. He was at Reading United, and he was at Colchester too. And I think of all those teams, I think he won a total of about 3 matches in about 3 seasons. I think the talent he had on the park is not the talent that he has as a coach. Maybe it's time to hang him up, mate. Like, I know you're only 45-ish now, but you're a star with the Socceroos, but maybe your time has come to an end, Harry. Your coaching is obviously not going well. You got fired by the very lowest of the lowest teams. So maybe it's time to choose something else, mate. Sorry, Harry.
It's just the players.
I don't know. That's what's the weirdest thing about sports to me. Sometimes the best players become the worst coaches, and sometimes like mediocre players become the best coach.
Hard to pick it.
Weird. It's weird.
I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks back. Why would you be a coach when you could commentate on the game and be an analyst? When analysts
a lot less pressure.
A lot less pressure. You're not going to get
probably the same paycheck.
Just an opinion too. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You just
because
get
the coaches have the
and...
heart. They've got the desire.
The heart desire.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is we did talk about, coaching a little while back, but there's something special about it. It's I don't know. It's
just you have so much passion most of the time. It's like your body maybe can't do it anymore. So that's the next closest thing.
That's exactly my thing. So the body won't do it. So Harry's got to leave the passion through the kids. Yeah.
Harry's had a few different teams the last couple of seasons, so I'm sure some hopeless team would take him on really soon. So I'm sure we're talking about Harry getting sacked in about 6 more weeks. Okay,
reset the countdown.
Just play that segment again.
Monsters Inc. when they have that countdown of like days from a disaster, we'll have that for Harry Kill.
The final piece of news that we have this week is the Opals start their Asian Cup tournament on Tuesday night. They played China and Chinese Taipei. It'd be nice to see the Opals come home with the Asian Cup. I think we are the holders of the Asian Cup, but it's been a few years since we've had it, so it'd be nice to see a full strength Aussie team this time around. So good luck to the girls as they go forward, and we'll keep you guys posted every single week. All right, guys, it's time for the good, bad, and ugly. Now, Mo, you get to go first this week, mate. What do you got for us?
Kick us off. Yeah, happy days. My good this week, and it's for the female listeners at home, if you haven't seen it. Nick Cummings, is that his name? The Honey Badger.
Honey Badger, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just come out. There's a video of him and he's saving the sheep that's caught up in barbed wire. And it's like, come on, this guy's like played for the Wallabies. He's been on like 3 different reality TV shows. Now he's saving animal life. It's good to see. Yeah, good
what
to
a
see.
guy. He's been on The
How
Bachelor.
much more can you do? Everyone's going to have to love you. So it's good to see. Save the animal, and good to see for any of you ladies at home or boys that are interested. Go ahead, go check it out. He's a savior. My bad this week is what's happened in the NRL in the finals with Penrith Parramatta. So not sure if you guys saw it or have heard or read, but trainer for the Penrith Panthers stopped the game because of an injured player, and there's so much controversy around it. In the last few seconds of the game, when Parramatta has all momentum, they're in the red zone, they're 5-10 meters out from try line, and you have a trainer stop a game, which is more than likely illegitimately. So it's ugly. He's been sacked for the rest of the year. They cop a heavy fine, and I hate. There's no one hate more than Parramatta, but I think they ended up getting robbed in that game, and it's not something you want to see. So it's bad. It's bad time of the year too. I mean, if you're going this to happen, it's kind of puts a bit of a damper on the finals, if you ask me. But
yeah, all of us would be much rather talking about the result than how the result happened.
Absolutely,
he got fined 25,000, I think, and
yeah,
it was probably a tactic, but in the heat of the moment, maybe things happen, and he just did it. But I think he was wrong. So yeah.
No, I think he knew what he was doing.
I think he knew what he was doing too.
Yeah.
I think because they made a point of saying that he'd gone up and down the sideline talking about it initially or something. Like I've read a couple of different things. So yeah,
I've read heaps about it, but there seems to be conflicting stories, so I'm not sure which is right or wrong. And
what actually went down.
Yeah, something to look into and find an actual answer. Hopefully it comes out. My ugly this week is one of Canberra's biggest probably sporting stars we have here. There's some, I haven't even broke this to you, but just ugly from a physical sense. So the athlete is myself. And because of this lockdown, my hair's going wild. I need a haircut.
So Canberra's biggest athlete.
Yeah, I was going to say you too.
Yeah. That's clearly me. Wasn't it? Sorry, I thought it was.
I thought that was established.
But yeah, I'm in dire need of a haircut. I need a shave. It's an ugly look, and I'm sorry you all have to look at it at the moment.
Mate, I wear a hat every week because what's happening under here is out of control. The beard's growing. It's bad, man. So we need the barbershops to open. Go and get your vaccinations. So me and Bo can go to the barbershop.
I need a barber. Please.
So they've actually opened. I can take my dog to get a haircut. I can't go myself.
Shut the front door.
You can.
Yeah. You can go to the
so
dog
wrong.
groomer, but not the barber. Why? We just want to get a haircut, man.
So many things in this COVID world I don't understand, so that's
athlete.
one of them.
Canberra's biggest athlete. Righto, I'm gonna take over next. Ness, you can just hang on a minute. I got you covered. All right. Only because my good this week is the retirement of Josh Morris, one of the greatest Roosters that we've ever seen. They had a guard of honour for him on Friday night. It was very nice to see him being treated so well by everyone he's ever had a match with. Josh Morris has scored some of the greatest tries anyone will ever see. There's highlights of him scoring in the corner with just one hand as he flips it over himself. And I'll always remember Josh Morris. Unfortunately, he is a dirty Rooster and no one wants that. But it's been very nice to see Josh Morris go around all these years. I think he played over 300 games. So it was very nice to see him go so far. So shout out to Josh Morris and none of the Roosters.
Underrated how good defensively he was. It's just something that as the general fan doesn't really care too much about it, but fuck, he was a gun.
It was so good. Yeah. It was very
and
nice
kind of cute that he gets to retire when his brother retires too.
So
they finish their careers together.
Yeah. Now look, my bad this week. Aussie swimmer Shayna Jack, she had a 4-year doping reduced to 2 years, so she can come back to swimming competition. She comes on the TV and cries her eyes out about how hard it's been the last 2 years, right? You cheated. You deserve everything you got. You should have got 4 years. You come on TV, oh my God, the last 2 years have been so hard. They overturned your ban. You still got done, but now you did your 2 years, right? You cheated. You did wrong. I'm a Cronulla Sharks fan. I know all about cheating and doing things wrong, okay? But don't come on TV and cry about how bad your life is. You shouldn't have done it, right? But now it's over. So get yourself back in there and train hard and swim stronger and win your gold or your world championships or whatever it is you got. But don't come on TV and whinge about how hard your life is, because that's not fair, right? If you want to have a rebuttal, come on the show and tell me, right?
For a change, I agree with you.
Wow, look at that.
I'm the one
because
that
you started with a Roosters story.
Oh, geez, I'm going to be the one in the corner. That's to a sense, I guess. I mean, she's probably had a hard time. She should be able to talk about it, whether she's right or wrong.
I'm sure she has, but the fact of the matter is you broke the rules, and there are probably just, I think there are better ways to address it, like what Spink said, just suck it up and get better.
Look,
we're being harsh, aren't we?
That is fucking fair talk, isn't it?
Every week.
Anyway, we don't have time for your problems. Suck it up, princess.
Sorry, princess.
Jesus.
Spink's and Neff being brutal.
Poor person's just had a terrible 2 years. Jesus.
I hope she's okay. I do hope
she'll be fine. I'm sure she will be. Right, look, guys, my ugly this week is the fight between the AFL and the NRL over the scheduling of the Melbourne Storm match with the AFL. So as we know, the AFL will be in WA on Saturday night. It's at 7:15 local time, 5:15 our time on the East Coast. Originally, the Melbourne Storm match was scheduled for the same time because the NRL are assholes that way, right? So the NRL decided they'll move it a couple of hours earlier. So now it's at 4 o'clock. So you can watch the first hour of the league before you tune over to the AFL. Why not play it on Friday night? Why not just switch them? You have the power to do that. Switch them over so Melbourne fans can watch both games. As you know, the two AFL games are both two AFL teams are both Melbourne teams. So Melbourne's got 3 teams across 2 sports on at the same time. It seems a bit ridiculous to me that you can't do that, but it gets worse. Racing New South Wales and Racing Victoria have a huge race card on this weekend. There are horses coming from all over the world to race in some outstanding horse races late on Saturday, Arvo. And now they're whinging about the scheduling of the AFL and the NRL. I'm done. You guys go and get KO Sports that you can watch all kinds of different things at the same time. See this whinging. You guys are fighting about
scheduling in sport is frustrating for everyone involved in sport. But I think just at the moment, like they need to get it together because there's just every single sport is impacted in some way. And so I just don't see how they're not thinking logically for the fan, like put the fan first and we're not able to go to live events, and we're restricted so much. So the only way we're seeing it is through TV. So make it accessible. They're just, I don't know. Can't understand it.
Politics behind it's kind of ugly, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Yeah.
Also, while we're on the topic of 3 Melbourne teams, sorry to interrupt. Little shout out to Melbourne that had an earthquake this morning. I mean, we all kind of did. So hope everyone in Melbourne's doing okay.
Yeah. Did you guys feel it here?
Apparently,
not a thing.
I'm at work and there's earthquakes all the time because with all of
really
the machine. Yeah, everything works huge. So all the machinery, I can't feel it. So.
Yeah, I was screwing up a click and collect order at Coles at the time, so I have no idea.
Nice.
That's my ugly today.
Right, what do you got for us? What do you got for us this week?
My good this week is a huge shout out to a person in the category of people that Spinks normally yells about. So I'll get to that. Soccer referee Jared Gillette, who becomes the first foreign official to actually officiate in the EPL. So he's officiating the Newcastle and Watford match on the weekend. Despite Spinks's normal rant, this is actually pretty historic for Australia, and he's been 5-time A-League referee. Is that right, Spinks?
Referee
of the year.
6-time A-League grand final referee.
Legend.
Mm-hmm.
And look, if you've ever stepped foot on a local junior soccer match, referees do not actually get paid enough money to deal with the stuff that parents on the sidelines give. So good on him. He's doing the Aussies proud. So that's a really great achievement.
Question: is it definitely Gillette or is it Gillette?
It's Gillette.
Oh, you're such an asshole.
No, off camera, anyone that's watching. Anyway, off camera,
Manuka and Gillette. We are all over it today.
I wanted to touch on this too, because I talk about referees being bad every week, and I thought this was a feel-good story that we could actually talk about a referee doing something wonderful when most of the time they do things horribly. So
this is what lockdown's doing to us. Like, you're saying nice things about referees, and you're also saying nice things about Roosters players. Like,
commentators got to share.
It's nice commentators.
Who have we become?
Get out of lockdown, people.
Quit.
Nice.
My bad this week is about New Zealand and England pulling out of Pakistan tours, and I guess it's not bad in the sense that there are so many reasons that they're doing that, and I think we're so engulfed in this COVID world that we're now living in, we've probably forgotten that all of these other significant things are still happening in the world, and that security and terrorism and all of those things are still very real, and I guess there's some unsettling kind of behavior in some of those countries. So I guess player safety and official safety, etc., and the fans that are able to go and watch, that's of paramount importance, and their safety. And so I understand that, but so New Zealand have pulled out because of security concerns, and England have pulled out because they're mentally and physically unwell. So I think it's bad for the sporting world when so many sports are just trying to come back out of this crazy time. That they're the reasons that they can't go and travel and do what they love. So that's my bad this week. We also, there's sort of issues with the Afghanistan tour in WA as well with Aussie girls. So it's all getting a bit ugly.
Because of the Taliban regime taking over in Afghanistan and not allowing women to do much at all. I think the Aussies have cancelled that tour now. Do your research on that. I could be a little bit wrong, but that's the gist of it. So it looks like
it hasn't been cancelled.
I don't think it's been cancelled yet, but it looks like it's going to, and that will be Afghanistan's first ever tour of Australia. So it's a bit of a shame. The game turns into a bit of a whitewash with those two teams, but it'd be good for the game. It's good for sport to get Afghanistan out here to be up against an awesome opposition as the Aussies are. So hopefully they can get that arranged for next year, the year after. So
one of the best sporting events I've ever had the pleasure of working on was the Cricket World Cup in 2015 at Manuka Oval, and Afghanistan and Bangladesh played, and it was actually one of the most phenomenal sporting events I've ever been part of. So I really hope that the Afghani women can come across and play that tour. That would be sensational. My ugly, other than I'll touch on it really briefly because I just want to forget it happened and move on to 2020. The Roosters' performance was appalling. That hurt. I'm moving on.
That's it. That's all we got.
That's it. No. Everything I predicted last week happened. Turbo was on
I'll
fire.
defend them. Yeah.
We were awful.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of kids out there. You shouldn't have won, really. Even though I tipped you to win. Yeah, I was backing it. I was backing it, but
thank you for your support, Bo.
That's okay.
Long-time podcast or our podcast listeners will know that sometimes we talk fashion on this show, and we probably have no right to, given that we both need haircuts. We all need haircuts, and this is the lockdown kind of fashion style. I have no credentials, and I certainly don't have any qualifications to judge people's attire. But the Big Bash and WBBL kits came out this week, and last year there was a lot of talk about their kits, and they were just too, the block color wasn't supported. This year they look like soccer shirts. So I think whoever's designing cricket shirts needs to maybe think about this a little more. Have a look if you haven't seen them. The Renegades one in particular could be like an Arsenal or a Man U shirt. Like, it's horrific.
I'm going to look into this because I really care about your outfit, what you wear.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a princess. We've spoken about it before.
You're a princess, you are, yeah.
I honestly, the only thing I dislike about my NFL team is we've got the worst jersey in the league. Like, I'd want to pick again. I can't deal with having an ugly looking kit.
No, I totally agree with you. We're going through a process with netball, and I'm not overly sold on it. And it does. It affects your whole thing. So anyway, probably in no position to comment on it. But yeah, they're not great. So anyway, excited about those two competitions starting. But bit of an ugly fashion thing going on. Maybe they learnt from the Italians at the Olympics. I don't know.
Hopefully those two competitions will start off nice and soon for us. Just one thing before we touch on what's happening this weekend, mate. How is your NFL team going this week? No? You guys 1-1 or 2-0? No?
0-2, mate.
0-2. All right.
Yeah, we caught up
0 wins and 2 losses.
Yeah. 2 losses.
Okay, cool.
It's been an ugly start.
Quarterback's
hurt again.
Yeah.
It's I've lost a lot of confidence.
Have you got the phone call yet to come over and save them?
Amber's biggest sporting star should just be automatically.
I think I was one of the first calls. I'm just negotiating contracts at the moment. They're trying to pay me peanuts, and I know my worth. So I'll leave that with I'm just leaving that with the manager. It's not what I have to worry about. It's I have full faith in him. He's a great guy.
It's your haircut, though. That's what it is. No, I don't mean that at all. I like your hair. Keep it.
Geez, I'm sorry.
It's getting worse. Very nice. All right, guys. Look, this weekend there is a massive lineup of sport. We've got some huge football games on. We've got league, AFL, union, NFL, college ball, and a UFC on Sunday. So let's start with the AFL first. The AFL Grand Final is between the Western Doggies and the Melbourne Demons. Now, the Melbourne Demons haven't won a Grand Final since 1964. So it's the second longest streak in the AFL. And they kick off on Saturday night at 5:15 East Coast time, which is our side, of course. You guys might not follow the AFL terribly well, but the Western Doggies, they won the Grand Final in 2016, and it was their first in about 60-odd years. The Demons are favourite to win this game. Haven't won a Grand Final in almost 60 years now, so their fans are starved for it. So it's going to be a packed house in WA on Saturday night. So give you a chance, tune in. The halftime entertainment contains some wonderful stars. I think
so good.
John Butler's there.
Birds of Tokyo and Stella Donnelly?
And Stella, yeah, that's right, yes. So there'll be some huge names there for that. So, and they're having a full NFL halftime show. So I think it's about 40 minutes long. So
the halftime show got me so excited that I knocked my screen over twice.
Nice. And of course, the rugby league Now we're going to get a tip off the two of you guys. Friday night, we've got South versus Manly. And you guys all know I hate Manly with a passion, so I'll be taking South for sure. But who do you guys think, South or Manly? What do you got for me?
I think South might win, but I'll go for Manly. And this pains me because I hate both of them. But if Manly knock out the Roosters, then I hope they go all the way.
Yeah.
So what do you got for us?
My reasoning.
I'll take Manly for sure. Only because just what Turbo can do. There's nothing, you can't stop that. That whole game depends on what he does with the football, and if he's in anything close to the form he's been in lately, I don't know if there's a team that can beat them other than Melbourne. But South's are probably a better team overall. So you stop the one man, you can win.
4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, you have Melbourne against the Panthers, the teams who finished first and second this year, who were the standouts all season, well above everyone else. And the Panthers got rolled in the first round of the finals. So now the Panthers have to take on Melbourne. And you guys all know I hate Melbourne as well, so I'll be taking the Panthers. So I'm looking at a Panthers-South grand final. How about you guys? What do you think, Melbourne or the Panthers?
Melbourne easily. For sure, Melbourne. Even before these finals started, I would have taken Melbourne. If Penrith won all the way through, I'd still take Melbourne.
But at Melbourne, right? Yeah.
Just easy.
Yeah. I think they are a massive
they're going to
favourite
win.
too. Yeah.
I think they're going to win, but I really hope Penrith.
Yeah.
Penrith is a much funner team to watch. Like I want Penrith to win. Melbourne's like that bad guy on the side, but you don't like, but you know he's going to win.
You're going to win, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gambling, if you're a gambler like I am, the safe money is with Melbourne, but the big money is with Penrith. All right, so come and see me for your tip on Penrith. All right?
How about, speaking of tips, how about the tip I sent you through with the NFL? The only leg that lost was Cincinnati after Joe Burrow fucking freaking throws three.
Joe Burrow, my boy Joe Burrow.
Fuck, I love that guy, but I'm going to send him an invoice.
Yeah.
I do want to say, Spinks, we've got a couple back home who one goes for Storm and one goes for Penrith. And there's been jokes about a divorce all week. So shout out to those guys. I feel sorry for your children. You know who you are.
Yeah, separate rooms that night, guys.
I know it's going to be us. Saturday night's going to be a bad night. Yeah, for someone.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of my best mates. So yes, play nice, guys. It's just a game of sport. Okay.
No,
it's just a game.
It's not
That's
a game.
The last
Go
thing
hard.
anyone can ever say. That frustrates me so
It's a game.
That's how I've gotten through this week about being a Roosters fan. It's just a game, God.
I lose on the
And the
PlayStation and
Vixen season.
I lose on PlayStation and get so mad. And my partner Jess is like, it's just a game. You just made 1,000 times worse.
That's why he's doing yoga.
Exactly right.
Nice. All right, we've got some huge NFL matches up this week, but the biggest match of them all will be Jordan Mailata, the Aussie. His Eagles team is up against my team, the Dallas Cowboys, at 10:15 a.m. on Tuesday morning. For those of you who are in lockdown, tune in for that. It'll be the last game of the week, NFC East Derby. The Cowboys are starting to really look like a hot team this season, so big ups to them. Heaps of NFL on Monday morning, and we didn't speak about a guy earlier, but the guy who hosts Redstone, his name escapes me at the moment, but he is Scott Hansen. Scott Hansen. He is a stunning looking human. He's a sexy looking man and has the voice for it too. He does like 12 hours of non-stop highlights of football on a Monday morning. If you guys don't have Red Zone, check it out.
I'm checking out Instagram right now.
Scott,
he's not good looking at all.
I think he's good looking.
And this is a guy that I've got like 6 man crushes in the world, and no,
really?
So many. So
you guys, Have a look and tell us what you think anyway.
I'll report back next week.
Report
Could be
back
my
next
good,
week.
bad, or ugly. We'll see.
Thanks, Ness.
Plus, if you're getting into the NFL, Red Zone's a great show to watch anyway.
It is,
just
yes,
entertaining.
definitely. To watch. Hope you guys checked out the whiteout on Sunday between Penn State and Auburn. It was a
I did
cracking
watch that.
match.
Yeah, I watched it.
Penn State won, and just the entrance they have into the stadium and the fans, and it is mental. It's absolutely mental. And we touched on this earlier. Ohio State were upset. They had 76,000 fans at a game, their lowest attendance in 50 years. They had 76,000 there. I'd be happy to have 76 people turn up at home. Yeah, there's nothing.
I haven't seen 76 people during lockdown.
Exactly.
Literally, huh?
The last thing you guys need to be tuning into on Sunday is UFC 266, where the card is off the hook. The main event is Aussie Alexander Volkanovski as he defends his featherweight title against Brian Ortega in what will be a cracking affair between two excellent fighters. This fight is probably going to be about around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. The undercards see Robbie Lawler and Nick Diaz and Valentino Shevchenko against Lauren Murphy too. So if you guys are UFC fans, I think it starts about 8 a.m. and runs through till about 4 in the afternoon. So there's a lot of UFC on Sunday, including a few big Aussies up for grabs on Sunday. So make sure you guys tune in to everything that I've just mentioned. I'll try and tweet it out and send out a list of the shows you should be all watching over the weekend. And make sure you stay home and look after your loved ones and go and get your vaccination. All right. From all of us, thank you for 10 episodes. It's been great to have you guys here, and we'll see you guys soon. Hooroo.
For Shane Warne. And he's done it.
We would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening in